The man on horseback. One man riding in to save the day. The only one who can, we're assured. Trust him, the people are informed, and all will be set right. A tall tale. A horror that haunts the history and halls of power in every country that ever laid claim to clout on the international stage. No country has evaded the enticing allure of the military solution to its trials and tribulations. France saw its coup d'etat emerge from Egypt in the form of Napoleon. Germany and Italy saw military takeovers in the aftermath of World War, Japan and Spain leading up to them. Russia's revolution led to the Soviet Union, its revolution nearly derailed by the Kornilov affair. Every major power, Western power that is, has fallen victim to the siren song of salvation from the barrel of a gun. Every power, that is, except one. Only one country, one nation of great power stature, has escaped, averting disaster, exempt from the tragic illusions of peace embodied in the quote-unquote savior general. Military coups have plagued the other republics of the hemisphere from their inception. As such, Americans could surrender to the tempting thought our cultural heritage grants us immunity to this special strain of authoritarianism. Sadly, however, this too proves but a comforting, ephemeral falsehood. Before the present political age, Democrat and Republican referenced the classical roots of our governing ethos. Greece and Rome did not evade the outbreak of generals with overzealous ambition. Not at all. And lest we forget, Cromwell conquered the opposition to Parliament, and then dissolved said Parliament, reforming them as a rubber stamp to his military dictatorship. So, if our distant past does not gift us our special status, what then does? Simply put, a man and a document. So, how did America find itself on such a precarious precipice? Misconception and mistrust. First, the misconception. The common version of American history teaches two major victories sealed the British fate: Saratoga and Yorktown. In truth, yes, Cornwallis's troops surrendered on October 19, 1781, but the Revolutionary War persisted past that point. British troops still occupied 3 of the 6 largest cities in the United States, the largest force far outnumbering Washington's demoralized army. Washington possessed 2 fears: a new British campaign and rising discontent in the military ranks of the Americans. Mistrust occurred on several levels. Distrustful of centralized economic power, Congress lacked any power to tax. Never understood why. As such, the fiscal situation sucked. A year prior to Yorktown, Congress voted in favor of half pay for veterans of the Continental Army after retirement from active duty. But, distrustful of the central government and hurting financially, states dragged their feet or stood in opposition to fulfillment of that promise. Enter Horatio Gates, heroic victor of Saratoga and a figure now lost to the mists of time for most Americans. Always angling to displace Washington in the eyes of his countrymen, Gates presided over a gathering of Continental Army officers. The meeting resulted from an inflammatory address authored by his aide, Major John Armstrong. The officers gathered were advised they should, quote, suspect the man who would advise moderation. The author stoked the emotions boiling beneath the surface of those gathered, riling them to action. He has felt the cold hand of poverty without a murmur. To be tame and unprovoked when injuries press hard on you is more than weakness, but to look for kinder usage without one manly effort on your own would fix your character and show the world how richly you deserve those chains you broke. God, this dude. Desired action was alluded to cryptically. The Army has its alternative. No mystery for the target audience of Congress. A month prior, one of the conspirators wrote, "The Army should mutiny," and declare that it would not disband until paid. The name the author adopted, Brutus, and the date decreed to meet, March 15th, the Ides itself, adorned with unequivocal foreboding. Ever the puffed-up peacock, Gates presides, confident in the course of events unfolding, when suddenly a side door opens.
George, what a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect you to attend.
You don't mind if I address our officers, do you?
Without a mind. That floor is yours.
Dude, boss move right there. My God. I love Washington. Then Washington, the supposed softy and moderate, discards all moderation and lays it on. But how are they to be promoted? The way is plain, says the anonymous addresser. If war continues, remove into the unsettled country. There, establish yourselves and leave an ungrateful country to defend itself. If peace takes place, never sheathe your sword, says he, until you have obtained full and ample justice. This dreadful alternative of either deserting our country in the extremest hour of her distress, or turning our army against it, which is the apparent object unless Congress can be compelled into an instant compliance, has something so shocking in it that humanity revolts at the idea. My God, what can this writer have in view by recommending such measures? Can he be a friend to the army? Can he be a friend to this country? Rather, is he not an insidious foe? Some emissary, perhaps, from New York, plotting the ruin of both by sowing the seeds of discord and separation between the civil and military powers of the continent? Washington finishes the rest of his speech. He reads the room, stone-faced, unmoved men before him. If their own beloved commander can't command them to step back, what will? And then, boss move number 2 arrives. He reaches inside his coat. He says to his men, "Gentlemen, forgive me, for I have not only grown gray, but blind in the service of our country." He adorns the spectacles. This simple act, adorning a pair of spectacles that only his closest advocates and advisors have seen, the common humanity, the vulnerability that it shares, they're won over by his weakness. They weep as he reads a letter from Congress, which they barely even hear the words of. And yet instantly, as soon as he leaves the room, leaves them to their own devices, they abandon said devices, disavow the address, disavow any attempt to mutiny, and come back to the fold. Thankfully also saved by the news that Congress, thank God, is doing its job. Because, you know, it's not like Congress ever fails to do it. Some debate lingers among professional historians. How probable was a military coup in March of 1783? Did the plotters ever actually intend to pursue such a rash course of action? Surely such an event could never happen here.
I pledge undivided allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will leave you with this thought. The conspirators disbanded in March. 3 short months later, angry armed veterans cornered Congress. Encircling Independence Hall, they put pressure to pay up, to put up or shut up, if you will. Pennsylvania refused to assist Congress, and thus the government, forced to flee Philadelphia from advancing redcoats, now did so in response to its own troops under arms. America the exceptional, the indispensable nation, has become cliché. A bad punchline to some, a caricature to others. Is there anything still special about the United States? The answer comes from those who know us best, namely those who can observe objectively from afar, or have settled here by choice and not simply by birth. Yes, immigrants enrich and empower us in ways we born here can never fathom. How many have fled countries where military takeover is embedded, expected, assumed? Horatio Gates is now dead and gone, but arrogant, presumptuous generals still stalk the pages of later generations. Lincoln had McClellan, Truman MacArthur. Though military and civilian clashed in struggles establishing authority over wartime conduct, even as our military power now far outshines what it was when the 11,000 men huddled at Newburgh, underpaid and underappreciated, The military has actively avoided being politicized at all costs. How? The document alluded to at this video's start. Members of the military swear an oath to a piece of paper, literally. But it means so much more to more of them. More than just words scratched by quill in summer heat 200 summers ago.
Defend the flag that we have right here, defend the Constitution. Give something to this country. They gave us a lot, so to give at least something. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to give a lot.
These men and women now in our military do not merely bleed just for Democrats, or suffer the scars and slings of outrageous fortune for Republicans only. Their colors don't run, but the blood of sacrifice does. They pledge allegiance to the flag, not to the current commander-in-chief. They pledge their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to us. All of us. One of the most impactful things I read as a child came from Isaac Asimov, but not, interestingly enough, his science fiction. In his Book of Facts, he delineated how, when this country began, when Washington performed his last role on the world stage in 1789, authoritarians reigned in many nations. The Tsar in Russia, the Shogun in Japan, the King in France, always named Louis, of course, all alongside him as president. Now, here in 2025, only the presidency, the office Washington established, that he shaped and molded, bequeathed as his final legacy to his country, remains. We owe him a debt so large, we're better positioned to pay off the actual national debt than the debt to him, the father of our country. We owe it to him to preserve for posterity that office as he left it. Empowered perhaps more than it was then, because we expect more of our government, but not so empowered that it can threaten our liberty. And, lest we forget, that man on horseback? Yeah, funny thing, he always appears a really good rider, but he always seems to topple over in the end. Oops. Oh well.